Itong nakaupong hari ngayon ay hindi na si King Nebuchadnezzar, namana na niya ang trono. At si King Nebuchadnezzar, nung panahon niya ay sinakop ang Israel, sinakop ang Judah. Kinuha ang mga high society people from there to teach them to govern for Babylon. At nagkaroon ng maraming kasaysayan ng haring ito na ang theme lang naman ay ang pagmamataas, pagyayabang at pagtutuwid sa kanya ng Diyos, kuminsan sa napakasakit na paraan. Naging instrumento ng Diyos sa pagtutuwid kay Haring Nebuchadnezzar ang propetang si Daniel. At ngayon, bagamat iba na ang hari, buhay pa rin si Daniel, pero parang hindi siya kasali sa mga activities sa palace. Apparently, the present king has not known Daniel or has not developed a relationship with this very special prophet. Now, bumukas ang tabing sa isang napakalaking pagtitipon, and there were many intoxicating elements, mga bagay na nakakalasing, nakakapagpalabo ng isip. There was the high society there, 1,000 of his highest officials and their wives. There was victory and prosperity apparently to celebrate about, and there was a lot of wine. Now the temptation, of course, is to push the limits. Pag hari ka, walang sumasalungat sa'yo, makapangyarihan ka, ang kingdom mo ay mayaman at maraming sakop, parang wala nang pwedeng pumigil sa'yo. And you develop a culture of impunity. Yung basta gusto ko, wala na akong accountability, kahit anong gusto ko, nakakalusot naman, so gagawin ko pa ng gagawin ang gusto ko. At ito ang tukso, nakaharap ngayon itong napaka-yaman at makapangyarihang hari na minana lang naman yung kanyang kaharian. So in that party, grave errors were done. One was the desecration, the abuse of the holy vessels of the temple of God in Jerusalem. Nung sinakop ni Nebuchadnezzar sa nakaraang henerasyon ang Jerusalem, kinuha niya lahat ng mga ginto na mga tasa, mga baso, mga palanggana, mga gamit sa loob ng templo na ginagamit lang sa pagsamba sa Panginoon, sa mga ritual na banal. Ito ay kinuha niya bilang patunay ng kanyang pananalo, trophies. Pero iginalang naman ni Nebuchadnezzar ang mga vessels na ito, tinago lang niya sa holy treasury, sa royal treasury, yung mga holy objects na ito. Pero ibang klase si Belshazzar. Nilampasan niya ang pagmamalaki, ang pagyayabang ng nakaraang hari. Now, what was the desecration that was done? It was the use of holy vessels in praise of idols. Ipinakuha niya yung mga banal na gamit na ito mula sa taguan at ginamit niyang lalagyan ng mga alak nila sa kanilang lasingan. In their unbridled merrymaking, they desecrated very holy objects. They crossed a line. Mga kapatid, kahit kuminsan tayo may privilege, tayo ay may kapangyarihan, mayroong otoridad, may edad tayo, pinapakinggan, meron tayong boses, meron tayong mga bagay na hindi ginagawa, may mga linya tayong hindi tinatawid. Lumalagay pa rin tayo sa lugar, bagamat maluwag na yung lugar na yon compared to others, but you still respect lines that you don't cross. Belshazzar crossed this line. Daniel 5:5. Suddenly a human hand was seen writing on the plaster wall of the palace. The hand was just behind the lampstand, and the king could see it writing. Hindi ka ginsa-ginsa, bigla na lamang may lumabas na kamay sa likod ng mataas na lalagyan ng mga kandila, mga ilawan. Walang katawan, kamay lang. Kamay na nagsusulat doon sa mataas na dingding ng bulwagan na yon. So probably this was the original PowerPoint. Kitang-kita ng lahat, may nasusulat na ganon, may kamay na nagsusulat, pero walang katawan. It was scary. It was just a hand. Daniel 5:6. He was so frightened that his face turned pale. His knees started shaking and his legs became weak. Nakaranas ba kayo na mamutla, mangalos ang tuhod, at manginig ang inyong mga kasukasuan, manghina ang inyong mga binti na para kayong nauupo sa kandila? Ito ang naranasan itong hari nung makita niya yung kamay. If the king would be scared by such a PowerPoint presentation, why did he do what he did? Gano'n naman pala, hanggang doon lang siya madali din pala siyang matatakot. Bakit naman siya nangahas? Nalampasan ang di niya dapat lampasan. Tayo ngayon, why do we do what we will regret doing anyway? Why do what we will hide later? Why do what will haunt and scare us later? Ito ang mga kabaliwan ng tao na noon pa man hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa yata nalulutas. Gumagawa ng bagay na di naman dapat ginagawa, sobrang lumalampas, at pagkatapos, pag dumating ang panahon ng pagtotoo, ay nangangatal sa takot, itinatago lahat ang mga pwedeng itago, natatakot. Daniel 5:7. The king called in his advisors, who claimed they could talk with spirits of the dead and understand the meaning is found in the stars. He told them, "The man who can read his writing and tell me what it means will become the third most powerful man in my kingdom. He will wear robes of royal purple and a gold chain around his neck." Dahil walang makabasa nung nakasulat doon sa dingding, ipinatawag niya yung lahat-lahat ng mga taong nagsasabing kaya doon nilang kausapin ang mga patay na, nakikipagniig daw sila sa mga espiritu, nalalaman nila ang mga mahiwagang bagay na hindi alam ng mga karaniwang tao. At sabi ng hari, sino man sa inyo makabasa niyang nandiyan sa dingding na yan, bibigyan ko ng napakalaking gantimpala. Tatlong pinakamataas na ranggo sa kaharian ang mapapasa inyo, at susuotan kayo ng mga mararangyang damit na bagay lang sa hari at sa mga nagaharing mga pamilya, at bibigyan pa kayo ng gintong mga kwintas. So self-appointed prophets, seers, and so-called visionaries are summoned. The high reward revealed the king's weakness and insecurity. Mas tumaas yung ibinibigay niyang premyo, mas naipahiwatig niya ang lalim ng kanyang takot. Perhaps he was guilty. Ang dami na niya marahil na ginawang mga mali, pero ito na ang kalabisan nung ginamit niya ang mga banal na bagay para sa kanyang mga paglalasing. So the king now is trying to buy spiritual revelation with material currency. Yun lang naman ang meron siya, ranggo, mag-appoint ng mga ranggo, mga damit at mga kwintas. Pero lahat yan apparently could not help him now. He wanted to know the meaning of the writing on the wall, probably to be able to avoid judgment. The king was aware that he had done something very wrong. Daniel 5:8-9. All of King Belshazzar's highest officials came in, but not one of them could read the writing or tell what it meant. And they were completely puzzled. Now the king was more afraid than ever before, and his face turned white as a ghost. So the noisy prophets proved useless. They were just nothing but rainless clouds. Mga ulap na wala namang lamang tubig, hindi magiging ulan kahit kailan. So it becomes more scary. Naka-assemble na lahat yung nagsasabing marurunong sila ng lahat ng mahiwagang bagay, walang nakabasa nung nakasulat na yon. Siguro baybayin. Ano kaya yung nakasulat? Nababasa niyo ba yung baybayin sa kaliwa at kanang bahagi na entablado natin? Hindi po yan kung ano-anong magical words. Yan ang sinauna nating baybayin, sulatin ng mga Tagalog na ang sinasabi lang, Jesus, Panginoon. Kabinasan niyo po siya. Now, hindi nila mabasa yung nakasulat. Lalong natakot ang lahat dahil sino pa ang pwedeng tumulong? How could this king avoid trouble when he could not read the warning on the wall? God writes something no one could read to judge and expose the false prophets. Marami kasi nagrurunong-runungan, kunwari mga propeta sila, kunwari may vision ng mga nakikita nila. So ngayon, hindi naman ito nila mabasa, so nabisto na wala naman pala talaga silang kakayanan. So God writes something no one could read to humble the conceited king and to give distinction to whoever could read the message. Siyempre, lalong kumukonti na ngayon ang pwedeng bigyan ng karangalan dahil yung mga naka-assemble na mga marurunong, hindi pala nila alam basahin yon. Lalo na ngayon na matataas kung sino man ang makakabasa nun. You know, false prophets cannot read the mysteries or true mysteries, or if ever they attempt, they misread them. Kaya huwag lagi na lang naniniwala dyan sa mga prophecy, mga vision. Sabi sa Deuteronomy 18:22, If a prophet proclaims, if what a prophet proclaims in the name of the Lord does not take place or come true, that is a message that the Lord has not spoken. That prophet has spoken presumptuously, so do not be alarmed. Malinaw. Pag daw ang sinabi ng nagkukunwang propeta ay hindi naganap, hindi yun galing sa Diyos. Pangahas lang yung nagpropetahan na magsalita ng ganyang mga bagay, kaya sabi, huwag niyo siyang katakutan, o huwag niyo katakutan ang kanyang mga pinagsasasabi. Siyempre naman, yung mga nagpropetahan, marami ang palusot. Pagkasabi, may warning kami, meron kaming napanaginipan, meron kaming vision, blah blah blah, ganito magaganap. Pag hindi naganap, sasabihin nila, kasi nagpray kami, kaya hindi naganap. Pag meron naman silang sinabing, may magandang mangyayari, ganito, ganon. Tapos hindi naganap, sasabihin niya, kasi hindi naman kayo nakipag-pray with us. Laging lusot. Pero ang sinasabi sa Biblia, pag may sinabi silang magaganap, dapat maganap. Pag may sinabi silang hindi magaganap, dapat hindi maganap. Pag hindi natupad yun, fake ang prophecy. At malamang na fake yung prophet na yun. Dahil, ba't hindi totoo? At hindi nagaganap ang sinasabi niya. Daniel 5:10-12. Nagkagulo sa palasyo, hindi na makakita ng makakabasa nung sulat na yon. When the queen heard the king and his officials talking, she came in and said, Your Majesty, I hope you are live forever. Don't be afraid or look so pale. In your kingdom, there is a man who has been given special powers by the holy gods. When your father Nebuchadnezzar was king, this man was known to be a smart, intelligent, and wise as the gods themselves. Your father put him in charge of all who claimed they could talk with the spirits, or understand the meanings in the stars, or tell about the future. Not only is he wise and intelligent, but he can explain dreams and riddles and solve difficult problems. Send for Daniel, and he will tell you what the writing means. So the queen is not in the wild party after all. You know, this is the importance of having someone remain sober. Na pag nalalasing na yung iba, hindi siya lasing. Pag nababaliw yung iba, hindi siya baliw. Pag sobrang nabubusog yung iba at nakakatulog sa kabusugan, siya hindi. Someone in the family, someone in the group should remain sober and wise. Para pag tayo nahihibang at naliligaw, meron man lang umakay sa atin na may malasakit. So she informs the clueless king about Daniel. So bakit ka po natatakot, mahal na hari? Dito sa kaharian mo mismo, merong propeta. Ang dating hari, si Nebuchadnezzar, sa kanya umaasa. Pag nagsabi siya, talagang nagaganap. At siya ang ginawang dekano, pinuno ng lahat ng mga yan, na nagsasabing sila yung mga marurunong. Sabi, halos katumbas ni Daniel yung mga Diyos natin dito sa Babylonia. Ang galing-galing niya. Sabi niya, ipatawag mo siya at siguradong mababasa niya yung nakasulat na yan. Kilala nung reyna si Daniel. It is important to know people in high places. And when we say high places, we don't mean high society, high in rank, high in wealth. People who are genuine prophets, anointed counselors, enlightened teachers. Mahalaga na meron tayong ganong kilala at may koneksyon, kasi yun ang gagamitin ng Diyos para tayo bigyan ng babala, bigyan ng liwanag sa mga panahon ng kadiliman. So she gives the king a lesson in history. Sinariwa niya mga naganap nung nakarang administrasyon at sabi niya, merong advisor yan na matino. si Daniel. Hindi kasi inaalam ng hari yung history niya, kaya siya tuloy ngayon lito. Sabi nga ng matatanda, ang hindi lumingon sa pinanggalingan, hindi makararating sa paroroonan. Now when the going gets tough, they will call the real thing, the real prophet, Daniel. Enter Daniel. Ang lahat ay hindi pa humihinga. Ang lahat ay hindi matahimik at mapalagay dahil may nakasulat doon, obviously mahalaga, dahil napaka-misteryoso ng pagkakasulat and in front of everybody. Ngayon, dadating si Daniel, papasok sa bulwagang ito para basahin ang nakasulat sa dingding. Daniel 5:13 to 16. When Daniel was brought in, the king said, "So you are Daniel, one of the captives my father brought back from Judah. I was told that the gods had given you special powers and that you're intelligent and very wise. Neither my advisors nor the men who talk with spirits of the dead could read this writing or tell me what it means. But I have been told that you understand everything and that you can solve difficult problems. Now then, if you can read this writing and tell me what it means, you will become the third most powerful man in my kingdom. You will wear royal purple robes and have a gold chain around your neck." This was the king's way, a carrot stick, suhol, a reward, an inducement. This is the way of politics. Do what I want and I'll give you this and I'll give you that and I'll give you this power and I'll give you this money. Money and appointment were his only currencies. But these things never worked. Daniel 5:17, Daniel answered, "Your Majesty, I will read the writing and tell you what it means. But you may keep your gifts and give them to someone else." Siguro nakaharap pa lahat yung mga fake prophets doon. Kinabahan silang wala silang mabalato, wala silang mahingi. So sabi ni Daniel, wala naman pong problema yan. Babasahin ko yung nakasulat, sasabihin ko sa inyong kahulugan, pero yung mga regalo nyo, ibigay nyo na lang sa iba. Ano kaya tinutuko niya? Yung mga nakabantay doon ng mga false prophet? You know, another distinction of a genuine prophet is this: hindi mukhang pera, hindi mukhang love gift, hindi mukhang donation. Bagamat in right times and in right places, those are important in the upkeep of the temple or in the activities that promote the agenda of God, ang mga genuine prophets, hindi napepresyohan, hindi mahilig tumanggap, lalo't kung ang tatanggapan, tulad nitong hari na to, na baka minsan ka lang tumanggap, aalilain ka na niya buong buhay, at pati ang pagiging prophet mo ay ilagay niya sa ilalim ng kanyang otoridad. So a prophetic snub happens, maybe a prophetic reminder to the king that he cannot buy everyone and everything. And this is the wisdom of true prophets: do not be on anyone's payroll. Kung gusto mo na ang spiritual message may maibigay mo kahit kanino, mapalo mo ang dapat paluin, mapagalitan ang dapat pagalitan, huwag kang tanggap ng tanggap. Para hindi mabusala ng iyong bibig at hindi makompromise ang integrity ng iyong religious office. Daniel 5:18 to 21. "Sir," sabi ni Daniel, "the Most High God made your father a great and powerful man and brought him much honor and glory. God did such great things for him that people of all nations and races shook with fear. Your father had the power of life or death over everyone, and he could honor or ruin anyone he chose. But when he became proud and stubborn, his glorious kingdom was taken from him. His mind became like that of an animal, and he was forced to stay away from people and live with wild donkeys. Your father ate grass like an ox, and he slept outside where his body was soaked with dew. He was forced to do this until he learned that the Most High God rules all kingdoms on earth and chooses their kings." So ipinaalala ni Daniel ang kasaysayan dito sa bagong hari. Ang sinando niyo pong hari, pinagpala ng Diyos, binigyan ng sobrang blessing na ang lahat ng bayan ay natakot sa kanya, sa kapangyarihan at kayamanan niya. Pero lumabis itong si Nebuchadnezzar. Kaya siya ay binigyan ng kaparusahan ng Diyos, naging mistulang hayop siya, nasiraan siya ng bait, Siya'y nabaliw at nagkilos hayop. At napakatagal na naging ganun ang kanyang asal hanggang siya'y natauhan, tumingala sa langit, tumawag sa Diyos, humingi ng tawad, at doon ibinalik ang kanyang katinoan. Ang parusa sa kanya, nakakabit sa kanyang buong katawan hanggang natuto siyang magpakumbaba at kilalanin ang kaisa-isang kataas-taasang Diyos na pinagmumulan ng lahat ng kapangyarihan maging ng mga hari. So what was Daniel's message to the king and to all of us today? That God is the giver of all things. Mahalaga na ipinaalala niya yon. Sabi niya, alam mo, baka nalilibang ka, ang yaman-yaman mo, may namana kang kingdom. Huwag mong kakalimutan, minana mo lang yan kay Nebuchadnezzar. At si Nebuchadnezzar, naging matagumpay lang kasi kinasihan siya ng pagpapala ng Diyos. At maging siya na pinagpala nung nakalimot at yumabang na palo. Ibinaba, inilugmok, isinubsob sa lupa. Hanggang kilalanin niya na ang Diyos lang ang pinagmumulan ng lahat. So, mensahe yan ngayon kay Belshazzar at sa atin sa panahong ito. Ano man ang ating tagumpay, ano man ang ating kayamanan, kapangyarihan, bigay lang ng Diyos. Huwag tayong makakalimot na sumamba, huwag tayong makakalimot na magpasakop, at huwag tayong yayabang, at huwag tayong lalampas at lalabis, sapagkat ang salok daw na napupuno, kinakalos. Ano man na bagay na sumasobra, tumatapon, binabawasan, kinukulangang muli. Therefore, acknowledge God in your life. Especially if you're successful. Especially if you're having things your way. So Daniel's message was also that even the king is only, in fact, also a recipient. Tumatanggap lang din siya. Hindi siya tunay na pinagmumula ng lahat. Tumatanggap din lang siya at dinadaluyan. Therefore, stay humble. Bakit natin pinag-aaralan itong naganap ng matagal na? Because there could be a writing in your very own wall. Maaaring sa sarili nating dingding, palasyo man o hindi, may nagsisimulang magsulat ng mga babala. O baka may nakasulat na ng mga babala. Tapos hindi natin maintindihan yung babala na yon. Kaya kailangan pag-aralan natin ang kasaysayan because history repeats itself. Daniel's message was that pride and insensitivity are threats to well-being, to staying in power. Pagka yumabang na, naging magmataas ka at lumabis, ang kasunod mo na ay pagbagsak. Ang kasaysayan ng lahat ng mga kabihasnan sa buong daigdig ay punong-puno ng ganito mga halimbawa. There is a cloud of witnesses in human civilization and history, and they show us that in all realms, in all places and times, in all kingdoms and civilizations, those who abuse their power met horrible ends. Kahit sino pa, saan mang bahagi ng daigdig. History is an important teacher. At siguro kaya maraming sakit ang ating lipunan na hindi malutas-lutas, kasi marami sa atin nun laging absent pag history yung subject. O kaya absent-minded, o ayaw makinig, bored, at pag tinatanong mo ng lahat na may kinalaman sa history, hindi masagot. Kaya paulit-ulit din ang mga problema ng ating lipunan. Pabalik-balik lang yung mga karakter ng history. Paulit-ulit ang mga dinaranas natin mga dilubyo. So learn from the mistakes of those who have gone before you. Learn from the mistakes of your fathers. Mga tatay, kung nakita nyo na ang naging mga pagkakamali ng mga sarili nyong ama, mga lolo, mga amain, mga babaero, mga lasenggo, mga sugarol, mga nagbubuhat ng kamay at madadaha sa asawa at mga anak, baka naman pati sa inyo ngayong henerasyon, tinutuloy nyo pa yan. Learn from history. Kahit mga nanay, kung nakikita nyo na yung mga nanay nyo, mga tiya nyo at mga lola nung araw, mga bulagsak, hindi marunong magtipid, hindi marunong mag-ipon, tapos ngayon, gano'n na naman kayo. Bakit pa may kasaysayan kung hindi tayo matututo? Kaya mahalaga ito. Hindi lang natin pinag-uusapan si Belshazzar. Ang totoo, there could be a Belshazzar in each one of us. That's why we're talking about this story. Anong mga dapat na nating malaman sa nangyari sa ating bayan? Alam na natin na pagka kinakalbo mo ang gubat, mawawala ng halaman at mawawala ng punong matalalim ang ugat, Pagka umulan, aano rin agad ang tubig pababa, babaha. Alam natin yun at nagaganap yun ngayon. Pero patuloy pa rin at patuloy, taon-taon, pag may flash flood, ang daming daladalang mga troso na pinutol pa rin ng iba. Kahit ang dami-dami ng mga patotoong yan ay masama sa ating kalagayan. At ang mga ilog na ating binabarahan ng basura o ng mga bahay o ano man pinagbababara natin dyan, nilalagyan ng basketball court, barangay hall, mga bahay yung mga ilog, ine-extend yung lupa. Siyempre, pagdating ng maraming tubig, walang pupuntahan, kundi tumaas, di baha. Kailangan pa bang i-memorize yan? Kaya tayo nagdurusa kasi paulit-ulit lang ang mga mali na ating mga ginagawa. History, as we have said, is such a great mentor. Dapat tayo mag-aral ng kasaysayan, pati mga pagkakamali ng mga politiko noon na inuulit ng mga politiko ngayon, pare-pareho tuloy nagiging mga ending, ganun at ganun. Daniel 5:22-24. Patuloy ni Daniel, King Belshazzar, you knew all of this, but you still refused to honor the Lord who rules from heaven. Instead, you turned against him and ordered the cups from his temple to be brought here, so that you and your wives and officials could drink wine from them. You praise idols made of silver, gold, bronze, iron, wood, and stone, even though they cannot see or hear or think. You refuse to worship God who gives you breath and controls everything you do. That's why he sent the hand to write this message on the wall. So sabi nito si Daniel, alam niyo naman lahat yan Di ko na kailangan sabihin pa sa inyo. Pero sa kabila ng alam nyo na nanatili pa rin kayong matigas ang ulo. At hindi lang yon, nilampasan nyo pa ang inyong amang si Nebuchadnezzar. Bagamat hindi naman niya biological father, kasabihan kasi nung araw, pagka merong king, lahat ng mga kings before him, ang tawag, ama niya. Salita lang yon. Kahit ibang dynasty, kahit ibang family, but they inherit the throne. So sabi, lumampas na kayo, palibas at walang pumipigil sa inyo. Akala nyo lahat makakalusot. Hayan, lumampas kayo. Makikita nyo ngayon, kaya ipinadala ng Diyos yung sulat na yan dahil may babala. So here, the king receives a very sharp rebuke. So you see the wisdom in not receiving a wicked man's gift. Meron siyang free speech kasi hindi niya tinanggap yung regalo. Daniel 5:25-28. Eto na, babasahin na niya yung kahulugan. Tatlong salita lang naman pala yung nasa dingding. The words written there are mene, which means numbered, tekel, which means weighed, and parsin, which means divided. God has numbered the days of your kingdom and has brought it to an end. He has weighed you on his balance scales and you fall short of what it takes to be king. So God has divided your kingdom between the Medes and the Persians. In other words, sabi ng propeta, tinimbang ka, ngunit kulang. You were measured, you were weighed, but found wanting. King ka, dapat ito yung mga katangian mo. Pretentious people fall short of what it takes to be king. Even what it takes to be president. What it takes to be governor or judge. What it takes to be pastor or priest or leader. What it takes to be a star. What it takes to be a leader. Kaya marami nang nakikita tayo sa ating kabihasnan, naging hari, naging presidente, naging governor, naging judge, naging pastor, naging pare, naging superstar, naging leader, tapos wala ngayon, mga basura. Kasi hindi nila minahal ang kanilang office, inabuso nila. Star na star, ang ganda-ganda ng boses, maglalasing na maglalasing, magdadrugs na magdadrugs, magpupwet na magpupwet, mawawalan yan ang boses. Ano mangyayari? Paano magwawakas ang buhay? Ang taas ng office mo, president ka, mag-a-abuse ka na mag-a-abuse, anong ending mo? So ka napupunta. Pag sumusobra ang tao, nagagalit ang langit. Ano man yung sobra niya. Kaya marami mga leader, kung ano itinaas-taas ng posisyon dati, siya ngayong napakalakas ng lagapak. Kung sino yung ubod ng yaman nun, sobrang nagiging paghihirap dahil hindi minamahal yung ipinahihiram sa kanila ng Panginoon na luwalhati, kayamanan, pagiging sikat, nababawian. Paulit-ulit yan. What does it take to be king, to be leader, to be shepherd? What does it take to be given power and wealth and fame and keep it? What does it really take? Ano po ba ang mahalaga para ikaw ay manatili sa pinaglalagyan sa ng lugar ng Diyos? To remain submissive to the King of Kings. Huwag mong kakalimutang may nakakataas sa iyo. Kahit ano pang taas ng nararating mo, dapat patuloy kang nakayuko sa langit, sumasamba sa Diyos at hindi nakalilimot. To obey the chain of command. Hindi ko mo tumataas ka na, susuwagin mo na yung mas nakakataas sa iyo, lalo't Diyos yung nakakataas sa iyo. At ang kayamanan, katanyagan, kapangyarihan, ipinapahiram ng Diyos para tayo maging kasangkapan ng kanyang kabutihan, for you to be a channel of the great King's rule. Bakit ka mayaman? Ano ba ibig sabihin ng mayaman? Sobra sa pangangailangan mo ang nasa bulsa mo. Kasi para gamitin ka ni Lord na mag-distribute naman ng mga sobra dyan para sa mga tama at mabubuting mga gawain at proyekto at para sa kapuspalad at para sa mga kawawa at mga mahihina. Magaling naman sa mata ang Diyos eh. Bakit sobra? May dahilan, hindi lang para sa'yo. Bakit ka binibigyan ng Diyos ng kapangyarihan? Pag nagpupirma ka ng isang bagay, umaandar ang isang proyekto. Pag may sinabihan ka, sumusunod. Halimbawa, isa kang personality, sino mo ang ginagamit ko sa aking kutis ay ganitong sabon, nagbibilihan ng lahat. Meron kang power of persuasion and influence. Gagamitin mo lang ba yon para linlangin yung mga tao na hindi mo lang pala talaga ginagamit yon? Kunwari lang, hindi naman yun na nagpaganda sa balat mo. Na nung gamutin mo, pinantal ka pa nga. No? Pero kunwari, yun ang ginagamit mo. Ay panlilin lang, maling paggamit ng influence. When you are given influence, you've got to influence people to do what is good, what is proper, what is productive, fruitful, spiritual. Hindi yung gagamitin mo yung influence mo para sila imali. Kaya kami kapangyarihan para mag-promote ka ng katarungan. Kupkupin ang mga naaapi, ituwid ang mga lumalabis. Hindi yung kakampihan mo ang mga lumalabis dahil mga tauhan mo. Tapos patuloy kayong magsama-sama mga api. Mababawian ka ng ganyan. Ang lahat ng kapangyarihan at pagpapala ay galing sa Diyos. Pagka hindi mo ginamit sa ikaluluwalhati ng Diyos, mawawala. Those who are blessed are there to dispense blessing, truth, healing, and well-being. Kung magaling ka magsalita, gagamitin mo yon to persuade people to change their lives and to more and more godliness. Gagamitin mo yon para ang mga tao ay mapalaya mula sa mga nagpapahirap sa kanilang buhay. Hindi mo gagamitin para mambola, magbenta ng mga bulok at walang kwenta dahil kayang-kaya mong ibenta dahil magaling kang magsalita. Nananagot tayo sa Diyos sa lahat ng ating mga talento. Maganda ka para bigyan mo ng luwalhati ang Diyos, hindi upaakitin ang lahat ng mga taong naguguluhan lang naman dahil hindi ka naman maaangkin. Naaakit lang sila at nalilagalig, nababagabag, tapos wala naman sila mahihita. Hindi gift ang manggulo ng kapwa. Kaya kung hindi mo rin lang ibibigay yung kagandahan mo doon sa taong yun, huwag mo siyang akitin. Dahil guguluhin mo lang siya. You must be responsible for the blessings that God gives you. Daniel 5:29, matapos sabihin itong si Daniel ang kahulugan ng ng sunulat na ito, Belshazzar gave a command for Daniel to be made the third most powerful man in his kingdom and to be given a purple robe and a gold chain. Empty gifts. Truth to tell, Daniel was the most powerful man in the kingdom, not the king. So the king was in no way and in no position to award any position to the prophet because the prophet in God's economy was next to God. The king was way below. Akala niya masata siya para magbigay ng award. And besides, the prophet was not interested in his gifts. Daniel 5:30-31. That same night, the king was killed. Then Darius the Mede, who was 62 years old, took over his kingdom. Kung pagdudugtungin natin ang kasaysayan at itong mga biblical accounts, naghahanda na ang mga Persians sa sakupin tong kaharian habang nagaganap ang palabas na ito doon sa bulwagan. Nasa ilalim na sila ng palasyo, napasok na nila through the underground rivers that cut through the city of Babylon. And that same night, the kingdom fell and the king was killed. The prophecy was realized. After all, that prophecy was not a warning. It was judgment. Kung minsan may mga prophecy, may mga sulat dumadating sa buhay natin, warning. Pag nakinig ka, hindi pa matutuloy yun. Pero merong sa dami na ng warning na pinalampas mo ang susunod na judgment. Proverbs 29:1. Whoever remains stiff-necked after many rebukes will suddenly be destroyed without remedy. Sino man ang magtitigas-tigasan dyan, matapos ang napakaraming paalala, bigla na lang siyang wawasakin, dudurugin, at di na siya makakabangon pa. Kaya magandang paalala. Baka sa buhay natin mga kapatid, meron tayong mga katigasan ng ulo, pagkakamali, pagkakasala, pagsuway, na ilang beses na tayo napaalalahanan ng iba't ibang paraan. Tapos ayaw pa rin natin makinig, huwag kayong magpaabot sa ang darating na is judgment. So, we're back to the major errors that were done by the king and his court. Desecration and abuse of the holy vessels. Honor God's holy vessels. How do you honor God's holy vessels? By knowing what they are. And they are things meant for God's purposes. Tulad nun, yung office ng king was meant for a godly purpose. To govern well, to lead people, to deliver them from hunger, from want. Pero sinarili lang niya. Pagka ang isang bagay ay para sa kaluwalhatian ng Diyos, huwag nating aangkinin, dapat nating isuko. Isang halimbawa, maraming daang taon ang lumipas. First century Christianity, Acts 4:32-35. Para makita natin ganun pa rin ang judgment ng Diyos sa nagmi-misuse ng kanyang mga pagtitiwala. The group of followers all felt the same way about everything. None of them claimed that their possessions were their own, and they shared everything they had with each other. Everyone who owned land or houses would sell them and bring the money to the apostles. So there was this culture of sharing and submission of what people had to the apostles. Acts 5:1-2. Ananias and his wife Sapphira also sold a piece of property, but they agreed to cheat and keep some of the money for themselves. So itong si Ananias at si Sapphira mag-asawa, nag-pledge din sila. Nakiisa rin sila sa spirit of giving. Pero nagkasundo silang mandaya. Kumupit tayo. Magbigay tayo pero kumupit tayo. Talagang itong mag-asawang ito, magkasundo. Partners in crime. So there was going to be partial sharing and partial submission, therefore deception. Acts 5:2-4. So when Ananias took the rest of the money to the apostles, Peter said, "Why has Satan made you keep back some of the money from the sale of that property? Why have you lied to the Holy Spirit? The property was yours before you sold it, and even after you sold it, the money was still yours. What made you do such a thing? You don't lie to people, you lied to God." Kahit hindi sinabihan si Pedro, the Spirit in God told him about what happened. Sabi niya, you were stealing. You were lying to the Holy Spirit. So ito ang pagkakamali ninyo. You steal. Acts 5:5-6. As soon as Ananias heard this, he dropped dead. And everyone who heard about it was frightened. Some young men came in and wrapped up his body. They took it out and buried it. Judgment, capital punishment. Hindi inaasahan ng tao. Siguro akala niya, lusot lang, madalasan nilang ginagawa yan, pero biglang dumating yung judgment. Namatay siya bigla. Acts 5:7-10. 3 hours later, Sapphira came in. But she did not know what had happened to her husband. Nakalibing na pala. Peter asked her, "Tell me, did you sell the property for this amount?" "Yes," she answered, "that's the amount." Then Peter said, "Why did the two of you agree to test the Lord's Spirit? The men who buried Ananias are by the door, and they will carry you out." At once, she fell at Peter's feet and died. Bigla na lang namatay ang mag-asawang ito na nandadaya. In full view of everybody. Siguro biglang nag-increase sa collection. Sa takot ng mga taong mamatay pag nandadaya sila. Acts 5:10 to 11. When the young men came back in, they found Sapphira lying there dead. So they carried her out and buried her beside her husband. The church members were afraid, and so was everyone who heard what had happened. These were holy vessels. Itinalaga nila para doon sa gawain ng Panginoon, tapos kinupit. So they died. Now, what are other holy vessels of God? Hindi lang funds, people. People He uses in His reign and ministration. You know, people are never holy. We are trying to be, but we don't become really holy until we are changed when we meet the Lord face to face and all His glory is transferred to us after death. But in this life, though we cannot be sinless, we try to sin less and less. But there are some people who are very special to God. And these people, instead of gold, instead of cups and basins, these people are God's vessels. Sila yung channels of blessing, dinadaanan ng pagpapala ng Diyos para sa mga tao. These are very special. One of them was Moses. Numbers 12:1 to 10. Although Moses was the most humble person in the world, Miriam and Aaron started complaining. Yan ang mga reklamo sa mga problema sa mga mananampalataya. Complaining. Who does he think he is? Sabi ng magkapatid, the Lord has spoken to us, not just to him. At ito po ang problema ng mga sub-leaders. Akala nila kung yung leader nila blessed at nabe-bless na rin sila through the leader, sila ay meron na rin kakayahan. Samantalang sila ay under that leader. Kaya sila nabe-bless. So the Lord heard their complaint and told Moses, Aaron and Miriam to come to the entrance of the sacred tent. There the Lord appeared in a cloud and told Aaron and Miriam to come close. Pinatawag ni Lord yung magkapatid na nagrereklamo. Sabi ko sa magkapatid, bakit? Si Moses lang ba ang anointed? Siya lang ba ang kinakausap ng Diyos? Kami rin naman So dapat meron din kaming mataas sa posisyon. Dapat kasama din kami dyan sa mga ganyang mabubuting bagay. So ipinatawag ng Diyos yung magkapatid. At nung pumasok sila doon sa tent, sabi nila, lumapit-lapit kayo. Naku, pinalapit pa ng Diyos. Then after commanding them to listen carefully, He said, I, the Lord, speak to prophets in visions and dreams. But my servant Moses is the leader of my people. He sees me face to face. And everything I say to him is perfectly clear. You have no right to criticize my servant Moses. Sabi ni Lord, alam nyo, may mga propeta kayong kilala, nakaraan at ngayong kasalukuyan. Pag kinakausap ko sila, mga panapanaginip, mga pangipangitain, hindi masyadong malinaw. Pero si Moses iba. Kinakausap ko yan one-on-one. Binibigyan ko ng napakalinaw na mga mensaheng nakakarating din sa inyo. Walang may karapatan na mamintas sa kanya o magreklamo. Verse 9, the Lord became angry at Aaron and Miriam. And after the Lord left and the cloud disappeared from over the sacred tent, Miriam's skin turned white with leprosy. Ikaw babae ka, sabi ko na napakadaldal mo. Napakarami mong kyaw-kyaw sa buhay. Hindi ka na pumipili ng kakataluhin ng bunganga mo. So pag alis ng Diyos, biglang nabalot ng ketong ang babaeng ito. Sabi niya, hindi lang prophet si Moses ha. Malinaw ang mga revelation ko sa kanya. Iba siya. Not like all the other prophets. And you dare criticize him. And the Lord became angry. It became judgment. Why? Because Moses was a vessel of God. A chosen vessel. Other vessels of God are spirit-given talents to people that He gives spirit-given talents to. So do not misuse your gift. Do not misuse your power, your talent, your office in ministry for foolish agenda. Another major error, of course, that was done was the use of holy vessels in praise of idols. Giving glory not to God, but to someone else. Self-appointed, noisy, and illusionary prophets are useless. Magaling lang manakot, magaling mag-promote ng sarili. Siyempre, pag may prophecy, pag may panakot, sumisikat sila, napag-uusapan, natatanong, nasa sangguni. Pero itatanong mo, natutupad ba naman yung sinasabi? Malinaw ba naman yung sinasabi? At kung hindi yan natupad, pag sinabi lang mangyayari, ano pa man ang excuse sabihin nila, hindi galing sa Diyos yun. Identify false prophets and do not be scared by their pronouncements. Meanwhile, listen to God's soft warnings. Madalas ang mga babala ng Diyos tahimik, hindi maingay. Kailangan tahimik ka rin para mamarinig. At kung ang buhay mo ay punong-puno ng gulo, ingay, kulay, galaw, pagmamadali, malamang hindi mo ito marinig. Baka may PowerPoint sa inyong screen, mga kapatid. Sa ating mga sariling dingding, may nagsusulat na ay hindi pa napapansin. Kaya pinag-aralan natin muli ang kasaysayan. Because God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Kung hindi siya pumapayag at nangungonsinti nung araw sa mga sumasobra, ganun pa rin siya ngayon. Kung nagbibigay siya ng mga babalanon, ngayon pa rin ay ganun. At kung meron man siyang biglang binibigyan ng judgment, sino tayo para pigilan kung gusto niyang gawin yon? Ang mahalaga sa atin, pakinabangan ng kasaysayang ito, suriin ang ating buhay kung tayo'y kamukha ni Belshazzar. Kung tayo'y hindi nakikinig sa payo, kung tayo'y lumalabis, sumosobra, nag-aabuso, at lumalampas sa dapat na hindi nilalampasan. At kung tayo naman, ang mahal sa buhay natin yung nagiging Belshazzar, sumosobra, lumalabis, dapat hindi tayo kasama sa kanyang mga kabaliwan, like the queen who was not in the hall. Dahil hindi siya sumali sa mga kabalbalang naganap, nanatili siyang matalino, nakapagbigay siya ng magandang payo na ipatawag ang prophet. Kung di man tayo yung Belshazzar, pwede tayo maging katulad ng queen. Nagpapaalala, nagbibigay ng payo, para maituwid ang dapat ituwid, maliwanagan ang madilim. At huwag tayo maging katulad ng mga tauhan ni Belshazzar, oo ng oo, kahit malaking kabaliwan na ang gustong gawin ng kanilang hari. Pero lahat sila nagdusa, because when their empire fell, they were all, of course, stripped of their office and dignity. Many of them were imprisoned, even killed. Huwag tayong magbulag-bulagan, huwag tayong magpipipipihan sa mga ginagawang pang-aabuso ng mga taong malapit sa atin. We must register our protest, our correction in a godly way. Alin sa mga karakter na ito, tayo. Pwede rin tayo maging tulad ni Daniel, bagamat siguro in a much lesser way, na tayo yung dinadaluyan ng pagpapala ng Panginoon, maging matapat tayo. Huwag tayong mukhang pera, mukhang love gift, huwag tayong lagi nalang merong price tag na mga ginagawa. At kung tayo binibigyan, kung ang nagbibigay naman ay kokontrol lang sa atin, huwag na, kanya na. Although we should learn to be gracious recipients also, when those who give us are sincere. Because they could be God's way of blessing us also. That's why we need discernment. Kailangan nating basahin ang mga kahulugan ng kasaysayang ito. Ama naming Diyos, turuan mo kaming i-identify kung sino kami sa kwento, maring lahat